Hi, everybody. This is Kat, and you are watching Passion Project. And today I have my friend Jen Bober, who founded, it's called the Bober Book Club, and she's on Instagram and talks about books and reviews. And I'm excited to chat with her about the whole Bookstagram phenomenon. So let me bring on Jen. Hey, Jen, welcome to Passion Project.
Hello. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. So I'm going to give a little bit of background.
Sure.
Jen and I met at a book reading launch a couple of summers ago before COVID, when you could do that sort of thing.
Yes.
And we both kind of recognized each other, but I couldn't remember. I thought maybe I knew you from high school. And then we started chatting on Instagram, and it turns out she reminded me that she bought my old house. It was so like we're downtown
I
Toronto, so
know.
far from our homes, and
You recognize the room I'm in.
oh yeah, oh Gordon and I talk about that house all the time. We
Yeah.
have so many great memories there, and
Nice.
had our first babies there, and the backyard. And actually, I'm doing the closet now, and
Okay.
like, oh crap, that closet was the best. Could we just have that closet back? I don't want to do all that again. And so, yeah, it's just been really cool. We got to go for coffees locally, and really awesome to meet you and see you again. So thanks for
Yeah.
coming on the show.
That was awesome.
So speaking of babies, I probably started to lose my mind after the first baby. And I don't know if Instagram had already happened and I didn't notice, but definitely when I had the twins, I just disappeared off the face of the planet and woke up 4 years later. And Instagram was huge. And Bookstagram was a thing, and people were
Hmm.
taking pictures of their books and their bookshelves and taking pictures of themselves reading books. And I was like, I thought, I was a nerd. I was like the biggest bookworm growing up, and nobody was doing that. I'm like, everybody's a nerd now. Everybody's
Sounds
reading
like
books.
it. Yeah.
Awesome. And I totally I just love looking at Instagram and bookshelves, and oh my God, I
Yeah.
could go off and on about that. But so yeah, I would love to hear, like, what was your journey? Like, when did you think it was a good idea to Instagram about books?
Yeah. Well, I've always been a big reader and always loved going to the library and just having stacks of books around me. And I
Yeah.
just started on my personal Instagram page to post the books I was reading and, was getting a lot of good feedback about that. And then, I started to look up hashtags, about what other people were reading and noticed there were these book accounts that people had that were just about posting what you were reading or upcoming books or pretty book picks. So I started following a bunch of them, and then I decided to take the plunge in 20, I think this was 2018, and created Bober Book Club, where I post just about my books. And at the beginning, I kind of started it just as a way to kind of post reviews for that people
Mhm.
could see what I was reading. But it's just turned into so much more, and it's been an incredible journey, and it's amazing that this community exists.
Yeah. So tell me about the more. Tell me about what that opened up for you.
Yeah, it's really like for me again, it was just about posting reviews and sharing books and talking books with people, but it's turned into really this community of people where we do buddy reads together. Um, you like I've made friends like all across the world through this. So it's like you're reading books together, you're sharing books, and then it's even opened up, conversations with my favorite authors and relationships with them, and bigger things than that, even with publishers. I've now developed a relationship with certain publishers where I'll get books in advance to read, and that's been a really cool bonus to all of this.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And do you have like a book club, or it's more like this sort of community that you're part of?
Yeah, it's more like a community. Like I have a book club in real life with a group of girls that we meet and discuss books. But yeah, it's like this 24/7 book club online. Basically, is what Bookstagram is, and it's I have another girlfriend who we've never met in person, that we've become very good friends. So her and I sometimes will host monthly book reads as well. We call it
Oh.
what do we call it now? Book twin buddy read, because her and I love the same type of books,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about the book with a group of other people, and it's just kind of a fun thing to do. So it's a place for everyone because there's so many types of books out there, and
Hmm.
so many different types of readers. So you'll find, yeah, it's just a 24/7 book club.
That's really cool. And I mean, that's what I love about Instagram is just the immediacy with people that are not necessarily in your neighborhood or your city
Mhm.
and being able to connect with them and dive deep with them. So that's been really awesome. So what do you have like a niche? Like, do you have certain books that you gravitate toward, or you try to keep yourself open to whatever new releases are coming out?
Mhm. I find like I'm pretty open to different genres. Like my favorite is literary fiction. The weirder, the better. I
Oh,
really like weird books and darker books, which is
nice.
totally not my personality, but it's like
Yes.
the books I like to read. Um, yeah, but I kind of read a bit of everything. I really love supporting Canadian authors,
Mhm.
and all the CanLit that's out there, because I think there's so many wonderful stories, especially like Indigenous books and authors.
Mhm.
I love being able to read those and then share them, and maybe sharing them with people who wouldn't normally want to read them. So that's a really awesome experience, as well as being able to share something and someone being like, wow, I've never heard of that book before, thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I think I saw on your Instagram that your May's Diversity Month, you're focusing on diverse books this month.
Oh, there's another little book club that I'm kind of a part of called like Diversify Your Backlist. That's the hashtag, and every month they pick like a diverse read. So yeah, that was one of my most recent reads.
Nice. And so how many books a month do you read?
Um, Usually between 8 to 10.
What? What? That's amazing. Are you a fast reader?
Um, I think so. Like I'm not
Yeah.
super fast, but like honestly, I do a lot of audiobooks as well. So I
Yes.
find not as much now because I'm working from home, but before I would be driving around a lot, so I would have audiobooks
Mhm.
going. But still sometimes during the day, like when I have time, I can put on an audiobook as well. So I usually have like two books going, like an audiobook and then a physical book that I'm reading.
Yeah, I did a course this summer where I had to consume a lot of books.
Hmm.
And so I started with the audiobook, and yeah, totally. You can, double time it. And I also just really, and then I got really into it. And then I, pick an audiobooks where I want to hear the author's voice, like
Hmm.
Michelle Obama and Shonda Rhimes. I really wanted to hear their voice and their cadence. So it's
Exactly.
been
Yeah.
really cool to be able to do that. Yeah, I love that. Um, one thing I've been doing, this is really embarrassing for me to admit as a writer and a reader, is this new thing that I'm just letting books go when they don't get
Mm.
me. And my mom has always been like probably my one of my biggest influences with books because she invests so much money in books and I can't. So I'm like, okay, what are you reading? Give me what you're reading. And so so many times she's read it first and she'll be like, just wait for it. Like be
Mhm.
patient, just get through the hump and it'll pick up. But yeah, do you ever just let the book go and just go like, I'm not going to move forward?
It's so hard. I used to not be able to do that. I used to have to like ride it out and read the whole thing. But I've learned now, honestly, because of Bookstagram, my list of books that I want to read has probably tripled.
Yeah.
And as you can see by my shelves, a lot of these are unread books. Um, I need to, like, if a book is not working for me, I need to kind of
Yeah.
stop and put it down. And, maybe there's another time that I'll pick it up, or maybe it's just, this wasn't the right fit. So it's like I have learned to do that because there's so many books to read.
Yeah, your house must be packed with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know because I'll get books in too and I
Yeah,
have piles of them I still haven't gotten to because there's so many things I want to read that I've sought out. So,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And so this is like your passion project and I'm always wary when I tell people I'm like this is your passion project because so many times people correct me. No, this is just something else. But is this like, yeah, would you say like this is your passion? And do you see it turning into something bigger or different?
Yeah, like like reading has always been a passion of mine, and I think, um, I never realized that, you could kind of turn it into what I've kind of turned it into, and like almost made Bober Book Club a bit of a brand, right? So
Yeah.
it's been really cool to do that. And it's like, it does take a lot of work, to like plan out your posts and take the photos. And,
Mhm.
I love engaging with like, the followers I have, or engaging with all the people that I like to follow. So it's like, it becomes kind of like a part-time job, but it's something I really love doing.
Mhm.
And especially during, the last year, I feel like it was such a way to connect with people, and such a
Mhm.
way for me to show my creative side and be creative, that,
Mhm.
in the last year, I've really kind of latched onto it even more, and kind of, you know, put a little bit more effort into like my posts and different things, and with the lighting and stuff. And it's just been a really fun thing for me to do. So, I want to continue to keep it going and growing. And there's sometimes you get a little burnt out when you're,
Yeah.
producing stuff like this, but I think I found a really nice balance for myself. So it's like I'm not overly concerned about growing my account to have 10,000 followers, because I just, I'm really happy like where I have it at right now. And I
Mhm.
just want to kind of keep that going and keep engaging with people. And you never know, like I'm totally open to any
Mhm.
opportunity that comes up.
Yeah. And what about you? Do you have a book in you? Are you, do you aspire to write a
I
book
don't
one day?
know. I've never, even though I went to school for journalism,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could be a writer, but you never know, right? Like
No.
it's you just never know what's going to come out. Yeah.
Mhm. And I feel like, I've been fortunate. I've probably talked to more people in the past 2 years than I did in my whole life. And I'm like, everybody's a book.
Mhm.
Everybody's a book, whether they realize it or not. So, yeah.
And
Yeah.
have you finished your book now, right?
Yes,
Or
I finished the first one and I am gunning to the finish line for the second one that I'm aiming
amazing.
to be done by end of June.
Okay.
And it's still, again, I'm so embarrassed to say, but it's still so hard. I'm such a lazy writer. Like even when I will write like a million different versions. I just always layer on top because I just need to do the easiest thing, and then I'll just
Mm.
come at it again and again and again. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, who have been some authors that you really enjoyed meeting?
Um, one of my favorite books is Bunny by Mona Awad, and
Oh, that
it's
one.
she's a Canadian author, and
I'm like, I want to write it down right now. I'm like,
I'm obsessed with
excuse
it.
me,
Where is it? I'll find it off my shelf.
Bunny, Mona Awad.
So this is like most people will be like, if you think of a book about Bober Book Club, it'll be Bunny. And I got the opportunity to meet her at an awesome book event. What was it in 2019? And we sat across from each other, and we really hit it off. And we continued to speak after that. And
Awesome.
she's a new book coming out this August.
Nice.
And she made sure that I got a copy of it to read already. And that like made my life. Like I seriously was like, this is
Yeah.
what it's all about, was like having this connection with like an author I really love. And,
Yeah.
for her to even go and do that for me was just incredible. And it's a great book. So everyone should check it out in August as well. It's called All's Well. But
All's
she's a great author, and she's just such a nice person. So that's been such a joy about doing this account, was being able to have this connection with her, right?
Yeah. Do you find I mean, I know you're getting advanced copies. Are you getting them so advanced where you have an opportunity to give feedback, or like do you even see editing, in your sight lines or anything like that?
Sometimes you do, yeah. Like so sometimes if you get a book in advance, I think you could, give that feedback
Mhm.
to them. But most often, like for me too, I find like I like to schedule things. I'm a Virgo, so I like to have like my monthly books scheduled out. So sometimes I will tend to not read books until closer to the date they're being released, so then I
Yeah.
can really kind of soak it in that moment, and then kind of give my review around the time that the book is coming out. But yeah, with Mona, that was really awesome that she actually sent it to me. It was like in a manuscript. So I kind of felt like I was this editor reading this book.
Yes, I love it. Well, you know what? I mean, I think you've been working that muscle. To be honest, so I have a couple writing groups, and one I met at a writing course at Humber College 2 summers ago. We actually are meeting this afternoon to critique each other's work, so they're awesome. But I was really intimidated when we first started meeting and going over each other's work, because I was like, I'm a journalism grad too, but I didn't take English in university. So I'm like, who am I to take somebody else's manuscript apart? And, I don't know if I know the language or the techniques or like the jargon, right? Did that ever like come up for you, or you just were just coming from the heart? Like, this is what I like about this book. This is what I don't like about the book.
I think I pretty much is from the heart. Like for me, it's just about like, yeah, like have I truly enjoyed the experience of reading this book? And I think sometimes people can get too wrapped up in like certain details about a book. And, if it's like a historical fiction read, it's like, okay, yes, you want to make sure the facts are all, correct. But, a lot of times authors want to take liberties with books and take it in different directions. And we can't necessarily sit here criticizing every little detail. So for me, it's about the enjoyment of the book and the experience I had, or, maybe this book taught me something that I didn't know before. So it's like, that's how I look at reviewing a book, is just like, how did it make me feel? Did I learn something? Is this something that's going to teach other people something? And yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that criteria. So I know that, so Mona made a big impression. Is there like just, some lifetime authors that are just, stand out for you, or the sort of the holy grail for you?
My other favorite author is a Canadian as well, Heather Honell, who also has a new book coming out soon. Heather, I'm here if you want to send it to me.
I do want to hear your summer book pick, so we'll get to that in a minute.
But I really love her books as well. They're really creative and interesting. Right now, I'm actually reading through Richard Wagamussi's Total Backlist as well. So he's another Canadian author, Indigenous, who's no longer with us, but his work is incredible. So I've been, going back and reading all of his work. And yeah, I
think I'm going to have to get a book list after this podcast of the books. You're going to have to tell me the books and let me put them to the show notes. That would be really helpful.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And I tend to go toward Canadian authors as kind of my go-to and my favorites. And
yeah.
Yeah.
So that said, do you have like your hot summer list? Would you leak some of that out? What are some books that you're really anticipating or really looking forward to?
What is coming out? Oh, there's so many right now. It's hard. There is Miriam Toews. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you're saying it right, but I know the person.
Yeah. She has a new one coming out. So I'm excited for that one. And like the summertime, I've actually been thinking I may want to read some lighter books. And that's, for me, I don't normally do that, but I was thinking, some fun beach reads I might try to check out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. I go with the mood. Like, I don't think I have like a genre that I think the only thing I've been forcing is because the new book is a psychological thriller, but I still kind of like, I don't want to go there, but I have to write it. So, but I always like to I like biographies. I really enjoy it. I was just actually checking out Steve Martin's biography. So I think I'm going to download that one next. So I find those are just nice and light and fun to read, and nice.
Yeah, and those, like you said, they're good like on audio too, right? When if the author can read them, it's like it's always really enjoyable to hear them read their own work.
Yeah. And so I know you talked about the community. Is it mostly Canadian? You said international now, right? Yeah.
Like there's people from all around the world who have these book accounts, and more every day. I found quite an influx of people, I think, picked it up during the pandemic as well. So there's been like a ton of new faces, and it's great. I think like for anyone who wants to think about doing this, like come and join, because there's room for everyone. You know, you could put your own personal spin on
Mhm.
your account, and it's going to be your own personal thoughts on the books that you know want to put out there. And I think, um, you know, of course, with any community, there comes, you know, drama sometimes and competition and this, but for the most part, I
Indeed.
think, yeah, for the most part, I think people are really welcoming, and it's, you
Mhm.
know, um, bunch of just people talking about books and hoarding books and supporting each other, saying, yes, you can go buy those 10 books, I support you.
Aw, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love seeing how everybody's been so supportive of the authors too and everything.
Mhm.
And I know like the nature of what authors do is changing because of the pandemic and how they're getting the word out. What have you seen in the ways that they've adapted or changed? Like, because you had the before and after, I guess, right?
For sure. Yeah, like there's definitely been, you know, more online, I guess, like book launches, right? And
Mhm.
um, people having to kind of do like interviews online. But I think that's also like opened it up to a lot more people too, right? So instead of maybe
Yeah.
gathering at the local bookstore, you're actually reaching a bigger audience of people. Like, you know,
Mhm.
someone who maybe lives in a smaller town couldn't drive into Toronto for that launch, but now they can go online and kind of see it. And, you know, I think authors have been having to adjust to like how Bookstagram is now too, right? Because it is a really huge place where people are promoting books as well. So you see a
Mhm.
lot more interaction with authors, which is always so wonderful. Like I still get all excited when an author, you know, likes a photo of mine that, you know, I had wrote about their book or whatnot. So it's, you know, one of my other girlfriends, she's been doing author chats as well. So she does like every couple days or so, she's doing like a new author chat and helping kind of promote the book. And it's been really awesome to see that as well.
Yeah, very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Um, and so do you have any tips for people who are interested in dipping their toe into the Bookstagram world?
Yeah, like just go for it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's if it's something you want to do, just you know, photos don't even have to be so beautiful, right? Like I think sometimes people can get really wrapped up in like a beautiful photo.
Mhm.
And yeah, those are going to maybe catch someone's eyes, but like for me, I really still love reading reviews, and I will go through and I will read what the review is that a person has wrote, right? So go
Mhm.
ahead, put it out there. There will be people for you. I think that, you know, sometimes people feel like, yeah, it's a community and people already know each other, but again, it's a very welcoming group of people. Like there's so many of us out there, right? So you're going to find your
Mhm.
people, and you know, to if you want to kind of get to know people, join in some buddy reads and check. There's always book challenges, so people will do like book stack challenges for even to raise money for different
Oh, what's
charities. And
that? What is
so
that? I
that's
never
a
heard of
really
that.
yeah, so that's like a really fun way to like get to know people, but also like you're kind of giving back. So it'll be like everyone, like, you know, for this month, it's, you know, mental health awareness.
Mhm.
People are posting green stacks. And usually the person who's kind of running it will be donating $1 per stack, let's say. So it's like
Mm.
it's kind of a cool way to all get together and
Love
support
that.
like different charities or whatnot.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so great.
Yeah, so
Love it.
there's so much you can do. It's not just about, you know, having the most perfect photo
Mhm.
or, you know, having all these props or anything like that, or being able to get all these free books. It's like, you know, whatever book you're reading, just put it out there and start. And pretty soon you're I think when I started, I had 66 books on my shelf. That was it. And now I have 304 unread books.
I'm just trying
So
to think of where
the
you put them.
influence of people have definitely happened because of Bookstagram.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun, and it definitely brings me a lot of joy. So I know if you're a book lover as well, like come on
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, I love that, Jen. You know what? I get to do a book club. I get to join a book club. I've never done that before. My mom's
Never.
done. Never.
Oh,
Oh, I'm a weirdo. Now I have my writing group, so we'll talk about books
there you
there.
go.
But
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, I love that. You've opened so much for me. I didn't even know about half this stuff. See? This
there we
is
go.
great. I'm always learning. Thank you for coming on the show. It was
Oh,
such a
thank you.
pleasure to see you again.
Yeah,
And I'm going to reach out for afterwards and prompt you for some
for sure.
suggestions and book picks. I love
Sounds
that.
great.
Awesome, Jen. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and maybe we'll have you again soon.
That'd be awesome. All right.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.